Good morning. Happy March 19th, 2026. It is a Thursday. We are at Friday's Eve. So I hope you guys have been having a great week thus far. Please hit that like button on your way in. If you are new here, hit that subscriber button. Good morning. Hit that subby button real quick for me. And also go ahead and share this content out if you can. Again, this is my new thing. So therefore, a lot of people may not be in this particular algorithm, as I can say. For a lot of people. Let me change it to subby mode. Excuse me real quick, y'all. I did forget to do that. So that is completely on subby mode for those that want to comment down at the bottom there. Thank you guys for joining in. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, guys. I love to see my regulars because we can piggyback off of what we talked about earlier today. We just can't. So I really love to see people drop down and see it, my regulars. But welcome here on Politics in Plain English. We take current political events and explain what's happening, why it's happening, and what it means. Okay. So I was talking to my mom the other day about this, and I told her I'm like the ghetto news, maybe not the ghetto news, but the urban news, I guess, the news in, layman's terms, plain English. And she got so tickled about that. She does watch. She said I was doing a great job and to keep it up. And if you were here yesterday, my apologies for not having my clip set up to where you could hear it, but I have that solved. I worked on it and I realized I have to be on Chrome to do that. So we've got that taken care of. Got all of that taken care of. Today is a packed day. So we're just going to kind of head on to it. I had my Dunkin'. They did get my coffee right this morning. Thankful for that. I do have my water with me as well. And my good old Nivea for my hands, my little hand cream. If you guys listen, this is a perfect thing to put in your book bag, in your purse. I love it. It works wonders, and a little bit goes a long way. Anyway, shameless plug. Hey, Nivea, if you're out there, hit your girl up. Anywho, so as I've been starting, the beginning, we'll just do a high level, some quick points or some things that's going on. And then we'll deep dive into a lot of the topics that I have. And we're going to piggyback off of some of the stuff from yesterday as well. Some things that we were talking about and we couldn't hear the clip. So therefore, that. So right now we have Capitol Hill is on fire. Okay. Capitol Hill is on fire these last couple of days. We've got hearings going on, testimonies going on. We've got so much of people throwing chairs, throwing the B word around. A chairman threw the B word around to Representative Summer Lee, who happens to be a Black woman. Interesting. I said, this is, again, I keep telling y'all this is better than reality TV. So we have Kash Patel, who is testifying. Like I said, testifying, because he can never seem to tell the truth. He is testifying. Gas is still high. And there is no there's no signs that it's going to lower anytime soon. I told you guys this yesterday. Jerome Powell said, out of order, right, Shantae, out of order. Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, said that the interest rates are going to stay where they are. And he also said that there has been no production of private sector jobs, meaning no job growth. We knew that already, right? We already knew that already. The Voice of America staff was ordered by the judge to reinstate all the employees that they fired. So it's going to be a boatload of people that are getting their jobs back, and hopefully they're getting back pay for all the time that they were not there. Nebraska has 1,000 acres of fire going on right now. Good morning. Good morning. Nebraska has 1,000 acres of fire right now. So their governor has declared it a state of emergency. And y'all, Donald Trump has endorsed Jake Paul, the little fighter that wants to fight everybody. He has endorsed Jake Paul to run for Congress. Listen, reality TV stars have never worked, okay? Good morning, everybody that's coming in. Reality TV stars have never worked. Whatever. Also, you really can't make this stuff up. Also, the national debt has now grown to $39 trillion. But I thought we weren't going to add to the national debt, that we were going to cut it. There's that. Y'all, when y'all see these lights, it's motion censored. So if I move, like if I'm sitting still and it goes off, the moment I move, you'll hear it click back on. So if you hear that, that's what that is. So Joe Kent is now under investigation, FBI investigation, because he is spilling all the tea, as we like to call it. He is spilling all the beans over there. And Trump, he doesn't like for you to become an op of his. So then he's going to sick the FBI on you. There's also been some unidentified drones that have been spotted over the U.S. Army base where drunk Hegseth and Little Rubio are living at right now. You've got brilliant Nancy Mace, who loves to attack Black women and their education. South Carolina, you deserve better. She misspelled in a campaign ad. She misspelled eliminating. Yeah. And this is why South Carolina is one of the worst in education. One of the worst in education. They are. She misspelled eliminating. Spell check is really not that hard. Google is right there. There's so many tools that we can have to spell check for us. Auto spell check, auto correct, whatever. Also, we have Wisconsin governor. Shout out to Wisconsin's governor. He signed a bill to extend postpartum coverage there in their state. So it's no longer the 6 weeks. They get an extension. I think they get an extra 6 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, or 9 weeks, an extra. So it's added on to what they were already being afforded, which is great. That is something that I think all families should be afforded, because you go overseas, they get a year. And that's a year per parent, which I think is a great thing. I think women's health means the health of a family, means healthy children, and we're being progressive in that area, right? We're getting better outcomes, and we don't see women snapping. We don't see a lot of these things happening there. So let's go ahead and get into some of the topics this morning. So the first one is Capitol Hill was on fire. Is on fire. Was on fire yesterday and is on fire right now as well. So I'm closely watching what is happening today, but you guys know that this show is only Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So when we reconvene next week, I'm sure there will be a lot more topics that we talk about pertaining to this. John Ossoff. You're asking, who is John Ossoff? He is the other senator in the state of Georgia. I must say, he did a surgical job. When I say a surgical job, cross-examining Tulsi Gabbard yesterday, he pretty much got her to admit that Donald Trump was lying about there being a threat. Good morning. About there being a threat of nuclear warfare, you know, them building this nuclear arsenal. There was no imminent threat that was going on. He really got her to admit that in a way. And I'm shocked that Trump has not asked for her resignation by now or has snatched her from the hearing, because she's not servicing his ideas very well right now. She's not. So we're going to go ahead and get into this clip of Jon Ossoff here. I thought it was masterful. I really, really thought it was masterful here. I just did. Here we go. Let's take a look at it. I realized I wasn't sharing. Let's try that again. Might be. Listen, this thing's happened, right? Hold on. Let me share this again. Okay. Sorry, guys. I thought I was sharing it. Hold on. There we go. Okay. Let's start this again.
March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote. That's a statement from the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False. This is the worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations. You've stated today that the intelligence community's assessment is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated and that, quote, there had been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. Was it the intelligence community's assessment that nevertheless, despite this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the
Here's the
president based
problem.
on a volume
No,
of
it is
information
precisely,
that he receives.
it is precisely your responsibility to determine what constitutes a threat to the United States. This is the worldwide threats hearing where, as you noted in your opening testimony, quote, you represent the IC's assessment of threats. You are here to represent the IC's assessment of threats. That's a quote from your own opening statement. And so my question is, as you're here to present the IC's assessment of threats, was it the assessment of the intelligence community that, as the White House claimed on March 1st, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
Once again, Senator, the intelligence community has provided the inputs that make up this annual threat assessment.
You won't answer the
It is the
question.
nature of the imminent threat.
So we see the problem here, right? We see the problem here, right? In her opening statement, she described what her job was, and her job is to identify imminent threats and to advise the president on these things, right? That is her job. That is what the CIA does, okay? That is their job. Their job is to keep us safe. Their job is national security, okay? Central Intelligence Agency. She is the head of it. A president cannot know what an imminent threat is without the briefing. Understand? That is like the CEO of a company can't go through and pinpoint whether someone is doing their job or not unless it is raised up to them, because that's not their job, is not to micromanage every little person, right? That's what you have leadership for. That's what you have HR for. That's where you have these different departments built for. They are built so that when things arise, you bring in a packaged information, which is called the briefing, the intelligence briefing that the United States of America receives every morning on his desk. And he is to read. He is to read and go through and consult different things with people in his chamber, in his cabinet. So what do you mean this isn't your job? Because if that's not your job, then what is the CIA here for? That's really my question. I have so many questions about this. What is the CIA here for then? Because the CIA doesn't do anything on our soil. That's the FBI. Okay? The CIA, Central Intelligence Agency, meaning they go and they keep us safe from outside threats. The FBI is on our soil. That's why you never see the CIA really doing anything. You know what I'm saying? So if you mean to tell me that you guys do not help the president understand what are threats and what are not threats, what do we have the CIA for? What do we have it for? She is a disaster up there. Like, she is a disaster up there right now. They need to call a break and snatch her up out of there. She is such a disaster. Exactly. What's the point of them? It is a complete, utter shame and disaster. It just is. It just is. And John Ossoff did a masterful job at basically regurgitating her opening statement to her and making her defend that. And she looked like a fool up there, because what she was saying is, we didn't make this call. The president made this call. Either he's going to Kristi Noem her, or I do believe after this, she will step down. she will step down. You're right. She cannot answer a question straight on, yes or no, to save her life, right? They keep just muddying up the waters. But see, when you have skillful people up there in office, they will keep sticking it to them no matter what, no matter which way. This is why it's important a lot of times to hire lawyer, like get lawyers in office, especially for things like this, or have lawyers working underneath a part of the staffing of these congressmen, these senators, because they will show you how to frame questions and stick it to them. You know what I'm saying? Like they will help you make the framework of these questions and know how to ask you the question. I'm gonna tell you who else is masterful at this. Jasmine Crockett is masterful at it. She just is. Another person who's masterful at it is Congressman Dan Goldman, right? And this is a perfect segue to him. Remember we talked about yesterday, for those that were there yesterday, that the Iran war, the gas prices, Kristi Noem, these hearings on Tulsi Gabbard, these hearings on Congress, what did it do? It knocked out the Epstein files being in the headlines. Well, guess what? They're back. They're back, y'all. They're back. And Congressman Goldman, who happens to be one of my favorite lawyers ever, he is skilled. He is correct. He is very skilled. He is one of the lawyers that actually presented the evidence to impeach Trump his first term. And if you watch that, you watched him go to work. He is one of the best. Dan Goldman is superb at what he does. He is a New York congressman. He is a former lawyer. He is that guy. He is that guy, okay? He is someone that you need out there. He is someone that you need in that seat. He is someone who plays no punches with them. He's going to bring truth to power. He stands on business, okay? We're going to take a look at him surgically expose lovely Pam Bondi. And remember, Pam Bondi was also the attorney general in Florida at the time when Epstein was down there at Mar-a-Lago doing all that trafficking. And they never brought real charges against him. Pay attention, okay? She ain't innocent neither. She's getting a paycheck. Let me just say that. But let's go over here and look at, let's watch Dan Goldman go to work, okay?
Mr. Speaker, I rise today to discuss this administration's massive cover-up of the Epstein files in order to conceal President Trump's involvement. This cover-up reached its apex last month when Attorney General Pam Bondi falsely testified under oath before the House Judiciary Committee. The Attorney General testified, quote, "There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that," unquote. This is a lie. In the 3 million or so documents that the DOJ has disclosed to Congress under the Epstein Files Transparency Act, there is credible evidence that Donald Trump committed a crime. And that, of course, excludes the nearly 3 million pages that the DOJ is refusing to turn over. Donald Trump is mentioned thousands of times in the Epstein files. There are multiple allegations that he sexually assaulted young girls. But I want to focus on one victim's allegations that the FBI unquestionably found to be credible. The DOJ tried to hide reports of 3 of the 4 interviews that this victim gave to the FBI, but pressure from the media and Congress forced them to disclose them. And now we know why. She credibly accuses Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her when she was between 13 and 15. In each of her interviews, this victim recited the same account of her interaction with Donald Trump. On August 7th, 2019, she explained that she was between 13 and 15 when she was left alone with Donald Trump, who, quote, mentioned something to the effect of, "Let me teach you how little girls are supposed to be." Trump unzipped his pants and put her head down, quote, down to his penis, bit the S out of it. Trump struck the victim and said words to the effect of, "Get this little B the hell out of here." The victim advised that she bit Trump's penis because he disgusted her. She provided some additional details in the next interview 2 weeks later, and then a month later, she met again with the FBI and asked, quote, what the point would be of providing the information at this point in her.
Let's stop right there. Remember, Donald Trump, they said, remember Pam Bondi said he had not committed any crimes. Remember that. She said this. This is also the person who claimed before when Donald Trump was running that she had a big binder of the files that she's just ready to release. Let's not forget there were claims of whistleblowers who said they were ordered to scrub the Epstein files of Donald Trump's name. And also remember, I dropped a little nugget on you guys on Tuesday that Jeffrey Epstein, the reason why one of his locations, his location on Epstein Island looked like a dentist office, because a lot of those girls, he were pulling their teeth out so they wouldn't bite them like this. Okay. So they wouldn't get bitten the same way this young lady is describing what happened. But let's continue.
Her life, when there was a strong possibility nothing could be done about it. She didn't speak to the FBI again. But the FBI certainly found her story credible. In a 21-page PowerPoint presentation that the FBI made to prosecutors, they included this victim's testimony. They would not have done so if they did not find the evidence credible, which means that Attorney General Bondi lied when she stated under oath that there is no evidence that Donald Trump committed a crime. But we're just scratching the surface, because the Epstein files also reveal that Donald Trump has made false statements over the past quarter century about Jeffrey Epstein. We know in 2002, he called him a terrific guy and said, quote, "It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side." In a birthday card, 2003, that Donald Trump gave to Jeffrey Epstein for his 50th birthday, Donald wrote for himself that we have certain things in common, Jeffrey. Enigmas never aged. Have you noticed that? A pal is a wonderful thing. Happy birthday. And may every day be another wonderful secret. But in that same
another wonderful secret. Just let that sit with you for a second. Another wonderful secret. What do you think those secrets are? What do you think those secrets are? And everybody knows Donald Trump tried to say that that's not his signature. Everybody knows that this is his signature, because if we look at all the executive orders that he signed with a Sharpie, we know that this is his signature. Let's continue.
Same year, Palm Beach County opened an investigation into Epstein that eventually was turned over to the FBI. The investigation became public in 2006, and the Palm Beach County police chief received a call quickly after from Donald Trump, where Trump told him, "Thank goodness you're stopping him. Everyone has known he's been doing this." What innocent person calls the police chief about an investigation upon just learning about it? The recent documents also show that Jeffrey Epstein emailed Ghislaine Maxwell and said, quote, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Redacted victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned." Trump also denied that he ever went on Epstein's plane. But of course, the Southern District of New York said that he was on his plane 8 times, often with young women.
Now, this is the reason why he hates the Southern District. The Southern District of New York is by far the most lethal we have, right? The Southern District of New York, pretty much that's where they send terrorists to be tried because they know they're going to get to the bottom of it. New York has an anti-terrorism center. They actually have cops that are specifically for that, and you see them in unmarked cars all through the city, right? They specialize in that, but the Southern District is no punk. You know who comes out of the Southern District? Letitia James. Letitia James is the Attorney General of New York. She ain't no punk, we know that. We know she has not lost yet when it comes to this man. So this is another reason why he cannot stand anybody that works for the Southern District, because they were on to them a long time ago. They've been on them for quite some time, okay? And they win, all right? They win. And as I stated to you guys briefly on Monday, the deeper we get into this, we're going to see banks exposed. We're going to see security measures like FBI, CIA. We're even going to see Homeland Security. We're going to see even down to, you know, staff being uncovered. Okay. Staff being uncovered. And it's young girls, because we know that they did not like them when they became women. They wanted the younger, the better. We've even seen where they even stated a 9-year-old was involved. You know, they came out, Life Touch has something to do with Epstein. The very textbooks that are written out of Texas, that has something to do with Ghislaine Maxwell's father. Life Touch is where all of the children take their pictures at, and they're stored. See how sick this is? Oh, it's going to get deep. It's going to get nasty. And it's going to have something to do with foreign countries too, where these girls were trafficked as well. We are, but let's continue.
The reason why this matters is because we don't have half of the Epstein files. And if the Attorney General is covering this up in such a degree that she is redacting things from Congress, that she then redacting things from the public that she then shows to Congress, what else is she covering up?
Woo.
And I would just show that this document here was redacted to the public. It was unredacted to Congress, and it completely disputes everything that Donald Trump has said about Jeffrey Epstein, about what he knew about the allegations, about his disgusting behavior, about whether he'd ever been to Epstein's house, saying, "I may have been there with my wife." Asked if any young girls were there. No. He may have had children of guests, but that's it. Well, we know that's not the case. Now, why is this important? Because if the Attorney General is covering up this information that she then reveals to Congress, what else is she covering up about Donald Trump's involvement in the Epstein files?
Mic drop moment. Mic drop moment. What else is she covering up? We know it's a whole lot she's covering up, okay? Remember, she was the Attorney General down there in Florida, where they were investigating him. And good morning, everybody's coming in. We know she was the Attorney General down there, and she was covering up things down there as well. Her hands are filthy. She has been caught lying under oath, which is why she will not They want to do a hearing where she has to go under oath to defend this, and she will not. She is refusing to. She is refusing to so much. Pam Bondi, okay, so we're talking about. Pam Bondi is refusing. She will not. She said she will not commit to testifying under oath despite the subpoena for her to do so. Despite the subpoena for her to do so. And while we're right there, yesterday, while she was in that closed door hearing, okay, it was a wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, that was going on in there, where Representative Summer Lee was in there questioning Pam Bondi, okay, and Todd Blanche. You know, Todd Blanche, the same lawyer that was Trump's personal lawyer that now is his legal advisor in the White House, that went down there to Texas to talk to Ghislaine Maxwell, and supposedly, allegedly, was computers brought and things like that. That's not supposed to happen. And he softballed her questions, and she's lying. Actually, she's continued to lying, and she actually should be thrown back into maximum prison. There is no way that you get found guilty of the crimes that she's in and she gets to a camp. That never is allowed. It's never allowed. If you really ask me, I don't even think she's there. I think they have a stand in there, and they'll eventually say she killed herself too, while she's really somewhere else with Jeffrey Epstein, because I don't think he's dead. I don't. What are the repercussions? They can hold her in contempt, but we know that Congress is controlled by who? Congress is controlled by who? So yesterday, while they were in that closed door briefing with Todd Blanche and Pam Bondi, Chairman James Comer decided he was going to jump off the porch, as we know, and call Representative Summer Lee a bitch. Okay, was going to call her a bitch. And this is so crazy. So she came out and spoke. She came out and spoke to people about it. Let me see if I have that clip. I do. Let's check this out really quick. Okay, hold on. Let's check this out, what she had to say.
With Pam Bondi, where Chairman Comer called me a bitch. So here's what actually happened. We had already subpoenaed her because she has not been in compliance with our subpoena and the Epstein Transparency Act to release the full, complete, unredacted Epstein files. She has been withholding them. She has been obstructing justice since last July. And a couple weeks ago, we finally got bipartisan support to subpoena her, to bring her into our committee to ask questions. Now, today's attempt, sham of a hearing, was your attempt to bypass that. Multiple times we asked her if she would come in and she would talk to our committee on the record, under oath, in the public. She refused to do so. So instead of directing any more questions to her where she's not under oath, where she can continue to lie to us, I directed my questions to our chairman to see if he would compel her to comply with the subpoena that he signed and that he issued. He could not respond. I asked him if she did not come, if he would hold her in contempt, move with contempt proceedings like he did with other people who he said did not comply with our subpoenas. And instead of answering this simple question with a yes, of course, he said that I was bitching and that I was wasting his time and that we didn't have to talk about this anymore. So that's where we are. That's why we are trying to move to impeach her. That's why we introduced those articles of impeachment, because it is clear that she has no intention on cooperating with Congress. She has no intention on cooperating with the American people. She is not seeking justice for survivors or anyone else. She is there to run cover for Donald Trump, for his allies, and for herself. And it's time that we get her out of there. So I just walked.
Period. Everything she said. This is also, Representative Summer Lee was the one who actually was able to push that Transparency Act. She was able to push that and get those signatures. Again, Black women's labor. That's all I'm gonna say. Y'all know how I feel about that. But this is where we are. This is exactly where we are. This cover up will be bigger than Watergate. Mark my words. I said it. Mark my words. This cover up will be bigger than Watergate. And it won't even only entail this. It will also entail the fact that they have stolen so much money from the tax-paying American folk, and that they're lining their pockets as we speak. Okay. So that's one part of what was going on Capitol Hill yesterday. So then we have another one. Okay. And this is crazy because the Republican Party has really ripped the Band-Aid off of who exactly they are, right? They're showing us in real time who they are in 4K, right? They have some of the most disgusting people that they have put in office, and they are showing themselves because they are only performing for a party of one. Who is the party of one? The party of one is Donald J. Trump. McTaco tits, okay? 90 swoop side bang, okay? Agent Orange, okay? Whatever you want to call him. I don't call him presidential because he doesn't have enough to even be that. He was elected that, but he does not even have the acumen to even be in the Oval Office. Can you believe after we had Barack Obama, we have this? And y'all can say what y'all want to say about Sleepy Joe, but after him, we got this, okay? So then, Mullen, who is now who is up for confirmation to replace Kristi Noem, who is probably worse than Kristi Noem is, because this man is just as disgusting. This man be wanting to fight people in Congress. He be wanting to fight people in actual hearings and briefings, okay? He is something else, okay? But him and Rand Paul, and I don't even like Rand Paul because he go with the wind blow. But what I will say is Rand Paul stuck it to him yesterday. He stuck it to him yesterday, and good for him. I'm happy that he stuck it to him yesterday. He held his feet to the fire, and he actually exposed who this guy is. Now, Rand Paul's one vote against him is not going to help because New Jersey Democratic Guthenheimer is going to support him. They're friends. He was photoed sitting behind him, talking about they're good friends because their daughters are writing a book on how to cross the aisle and work together. If y'all don't go somewhere with that crossing the aisle and work together, that was gone long time ago, okay? Talking about how to be bipartisan. If you don't get up out of here with that mess, how much he pay you? That's that's where I'm at with it. Who sent you? How much did they pay you for your vote? But let's take a look at this sparring match, baby. When I tell you I enjoyed this yesterday, baby, I enjoyed this so much. I want y'all to see this man wanting to fight somebody. Okay, he was wanting to fight somebody. In session. Hold on.
Greedy CEO who pretends like he's self-made. What a clown. Quit the tough guy act in these Senate hearings. You know where to find me. Any place, anytime, cowboy. Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on.
Big guy.
Oh, stop it.
Is that your
Sorry.
solution every
Hold it. No, sit down. Sit down. Okay. You know, you're a United States Senator.
I did challenge you and I accepted your challenge and you went quiet.
You challenged me to a cage match,
No,
acting like a
sir.
12-year-old schoolyard.
Hold
You said anytime, any place. April is a charity event.
No, that's not That's
Well,
not,
His statements are fiction at best.
Fiction, I read them.
can you answer?
What? I can't understand him, to be honest with you.
All right.
He rambles so much.
You said anytime, any place. I'm accepting yours, so why don't you come
What
back?
challenge? What challenge are you talking
April
about?
30th.
Yeah.
You want to fight me?
What'd you say by anytime, any place?
Let's have coffee, discuss our differences.
Oh, that's what
Y'all. This is a sitting senator wanting to fight on camera someone that was testifying because he didn't like what he had to say. My God, today. My God, today. The recklessness of what we have going on. Wanting to fight, told him, let's square up, and stood up and was about to take did y'all see him reach in for the wedding ring? He was about to take the wedding ring off. And he had Bernie Sanders sitting next to him like, this is not the time nor the place. What are we doing? He challenged this man to a cage match. And you are an elected senator. A senator holds more prestige than that. And you're acting like a petulant child. Wanting to fight, wanting to square up. Put your dukes up. That's what he said. Run up and get done up. I'm ready for whatever. I'm on what you on. Now, could y'all have imagined that being a black man doing that? They would have dismissed us. They would have censured us. They would have did all kind of things to us. Had it been a black man acting like that. Can you believe it? I just couldn't believe it. I said, oh my gosh. Did this really just happen? These are the times that we're in, and this is the person that they want to put in head of Homeland Security, DHS, Department of Homeland Security, also, who is going to tell ICE what to do. ICE. And remember, I got a question that dropped down in one of my comments that said, where is ICE? Where is ICE? Where is ICE? Where is ICE? Right? Where is ICE? Well, the Gestapo is still out there running rampant. They are. The Gestapo army is still out there. And here you go. I'm going to show you something.
Was all that necessary? All those beatings? Okay.
Do you have to hit him?
All the beating was necessary.
What happened here?
Okay. Was all the beating necessary? I didn't see him attacking you right now.
Get up.
Out of the sudden, he was on the floor and you were attacking him.
Let's go. Back up. You have a warrant for his arrest.
Okay, but he was already on the floor and he was attacking him. What the fuck was all that about, man? The fuck? I'm talking to you. Was all that necessary? All those beatings? Okay.
Do you have to hit him?
All the beatings was necessary.
What happened here?
Okay.
Y'all. The Gestapo was still there. The Gestapo is still live, in charge. Well, I wouldn't say in charge, but they're still running rampant. In my personal opinion, ICE is the new KKK, because you wonder why we don't see any rallies, any Proud Boy marches anymore, because they are now disguised as ICE. They are now able, and in my mind, ICE is built up of people who were never popular, who could not get a high enough score on the exams to enter the military, who could not pass the physical test to be a police officer or a firefighter. They could never date the hot girl in high school. They were never part of the cool kids club. That's what ICE, to me consists of people that could never get in the in crowd because they wanted to so bad and got rejected and don't know how to handle rejection. And now we're working something. We're going to show you how masculine and how manly we are. And we're going to get you up out of here. We're going to rough you up by any means necessary. Now that man was shopping at Home Depot. And I told y'all about Home Depot. Home Depot and Target. Target allows their parking lots to be ICE setups. Okay. Home Depot let them come in there and do whatever. Lowe's don't, but Home Depot does. That's why I ain't going back to Target. As much as I love Target, right? I ain't going back to you because you turned on your own people. That's another discussion for another day. But ICE is still live and well. Meanwhile, while they're fighting up there in Congress to get them funding, this is why there's a partial government shutdown, because the Democrats are refusing to give any money towards DHS. They said they will fund FEMA and they will fund TSA. They are not going to fund DHS. Give us a bill without DHS in it, we'll sign it. You'll get our word. But as long as y'all want us to fund this mess, are you okay? We ain't going. We're not going to go. So guess what? You're going to continue to have long lines at the airport. Okay. They said 10% more people than the day before called out sick. Okay. You're going to you start seeing air traffic controllers be like, I'm out, because there's already a shortage of them anyway. Okay. So we're going to start seeing all these things. We're going to see it's just a trickle down effect with everything on top of, because gas prices are so high. That means your flights are about to be high as a giraffe's ass. Okay. All of these things, all of these moving parts. Okay. So we have that, right? We have that. Then we have Cesar Chavez. We have somebody come forward and said that they were raped and molested. And see, Republicans, here you go, take note. We've already spoke out against it and said, move them out the way, move them out the way, get up out of the way, get up out of the way, get up out of the way. Okay. These are the things that we have said. Okay. These are the things that we have said. And so with that, you see this? This is a statue of Cesar Chavez. Fresno State. Fresno State. This is what they did in less than 24 hours. Not on our campus, not on our watch. We want nothing to do with a rapist, a molester, child molester. We want nothing to do with it. And we keep telling people, keep saying, well, if it's Democrats in the Epstein files, what are you going to do? We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Get them out of here. Jail them all. Take all of their statues down. Remove their murals. Change the names of the streets. Change the names of the buildings. Get them up out of here. They have no place here. They have no place here. So, I get sick and tired of them. Oh, well, what about this? What about that? This is how you do it. This. Get them up out of here. Black them out. Tell them they have no type of place here being that way. We don't cater to them. We don't adore them. They get no adoration from us. They're disgusting. They're nasty. They're vile. They're vicious. And they have no place in society. This is what should happen to you. So for all those little comments, oh, well, if a Democrat, this is how you handle it right here. Many people have already spoken out against him and said, not here, not now. Get him out of here. Get his name off of books. Get him. Get that. That's it, and that's all. That's how you handle these rapists. And while all that is going on, we got drunk ass Hegseth asking for an additional $200 billion for Trump's war. Just let that sink in. $200 billion. $200 billion. $200 billion for Trump's war. Listen to his crazy self. This man crazy. This man has really lost his ever-loving mind, okay? Look, let's take a look at it real quick. Let's just look at it real quick.
It's money to kill bad guys. So we're going back to Congress and our folks there to ensure that we're properly funded for what's been done.
Oops, hold on, y'all.
$200 billion. I think that number could move, obviously. It takes money to kill bad guys. So we're going back to Congress and our folks there to ensure that we're properly funded for what's been done, for what we may have to do in the future, ensure that our ammunition everything's refilled, and not just refilled, but above and beyond. I mean, President Trump, as he said, rebuilt the military in his first term, didn't think he'd use it as dynamically in his second, but he had. So thank goodness he did that. And an investment like this is meant to say, hey, we'll replace anything that was spent. And now that we're reviving our defense industrial base and rebuilding the arsenal of freedom and cutting deals like our great deputy secretaries here is doing, long lead times on exquisite munitions, we're going to be refilled faster than anyone imagined. That as well. As far as $200 billion,
That's my face. That's my response to that. That's my response to that. $200 billion, but $200 billion, mind you, the Department of Defense, not the Department of War, the Department of Defense has a $839 billion budget and has yet to pass an audit. Has yet to pass an audit, but we cannot get affordable health care. We cannot get affordable and safe food, healthy food. We cannot get affordable or free childcare. We cannot get affordable education. We cannot get affordable housing. We can't even get affordable gas, for God's sake. But they want us to dig down in our purse to give the Department of Defense $200 billion for Trump's war. Let that sink in. They always love to tell us, voting has consequences. It does. For all those that voted for Trump, those MAGA lovers, you know what I'm saying? They're like, hey, he's not going to take us to war. He's going to end the senseless war. He's going to lower the price of drugs. He's going to lower the price of groceries. He's going to lower gas. He's going to add so many more jobs. He's going to make healthcare affordable. How is that working out for you? How is that working out for you? How is that working out for you? Well, let me show you how that's working out for them really quickly. Let me show you how this is working out for them. Okay, let's just take a peek over here. Shall we take a peek?
I voted for.
In 2 weeks, I'm done. You want to talk about regretting your vote?
I never thought I'd say that, but I regret my vote. I voted for Trump.
I voted for Trump, and I regret it now.
As a Hispanic, I voted for Donald J. Trump. Dude, I regret it so much, man.
I am regretting my vote for Donald Trump.
I voted for Donald Trump, and now I regret it.
A lot of people who were like me who voted for Trump and have to account for that.
I regret voting for Trump.
So deeply regret my vote for Donald Trump.
I regret voting for Trump.
I was a dumbass, voted for Trump. It was the worst decision I ever made.
I've seen the light, and I got out of MAGA. A lot of us there have seen the light. We have deep regrets.
I feel guilty because I voted for Trump twice. I feel very guilty because I feel responsible. That's why he's still running.
I was with Trump for 9 straight years. I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed in Trump right now.
Hey, everybody that's coming in. They're really disappointed at Trump right now. They're so disappointed in Trump right now. I deeply regret it. I followed him for 9 years. The same way a person dodged the draft umpteen times, cannot tell you what the military needs to do. Same way a man that filed bankruptcy all those times and had all those failed businesses cannot successfully run a country, more or less another business. Are we okay? I know it gets better, y'all. It gets better. Let's travel over to Pennsylvania, right? Oh, it gets better. Okay. It gets even better. Hold on 1 second. Let's let this ad in real quick. It gets even better. Just hold on for me 1 second. Here we go. Where's the volume?
Oil prices, not just the 3 states that I talk about with $1.99 a gallon. How would you like to have $1.99? You know, that's the equivalent of a very major tax cut.
Welcome back. Now that was President.
Now let's go and see what else.
Long run.
Hang on. This is the one that I want y'all to see. I believe this is her. Hold on. No, that's not her. This is her. Just watch this right
More woman who we spoke with. If you could say something to President Trump and he was going to hear you right now, what would it be?
You are a worthless pile of
And you voted for him how many times?
3 times. That was my bad. Apparently, I'm an idiot.
Oh gosh, that just tickled me. Listen, I have watched that clip several times. MAGA's not going. MAGA is imploding on themselves. MAGA is like, because guess what? Their gas prices are high. Their insurance premiums are high. Their food is sky high. And their kiddos are being sent over to war. But you know what? I don't feel bad for them. You know why I don't feel bad for them? Because we tried to tell you. We tried to tell you, and there were prominent other people that tried to tell you, but you guys just was drinking too much of the Kool-Aid. But I don't want to hear it now. Just like Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? She's on this, that. Marjorie, I don't believe you. You know why? Because you helped usher him in. And now you feel a type of way and you're looking for a new home, just like Candace Owens. We don't want you. Stay where you're at. You're trying to rebrand yourself because you know nobody wants anything to do with you now. Or your children, talk about your children can't even afford their health insurance. Well, you should have thought about that when we were telling you that this very thing was going to happen. Now that you decided to resign early because you couldn't say, first of all, we know why she resigned early. She resigned early because she wasn't getting it reelected anyway. Okay. Pay attention, y'all. These people that are resigning early and saying, oh, I'm not running again, because you weren't going to get reelected anyway, because you hitched your wagon to this MAGA sycophants. You hitched your wagon to this. And it's not working well for you. It's not. It's not working well for you whatsoever. Your poll numbers are in the ground. Your credibility is in the ground. Your everyday donors can't even afford to donate $5 to you. They can't even do town halls without them going crazy and yelling at them and asking them, do your job. That's what they're asking. They're asking them to do their job. That's what they're asking. They are asking them merely to do your job. Merely to do your job. They're canceling. They can't even go to eat in peace. You've got folks that are hiring security detail around them because they can't move around freely like they once were able to. Well, guess what? Ordinary Americans can't either, because if they look like, they sound like, they move like they may be Latino, here comes the Gestapo. They're barging in people's houses without correct warrants and things like that. I don't feel sorry for them. I don't. I don't feel sorry for them whatsoever. I do not feel sorry for them. Now, my last topic, and I really want to deep dive in this, and we're gonna watch this for a while together collectively. So you guys remember Jared Kushner, you know, the socially awkward guy that's married to the daughter of Donald Trump, you know, the one who openly refers to her as a hot piece of ass, right? You know that one. Mm-hmm. We know his daddy went to jail. Trump pardoned him or whatever. Jared Kushner can't count and keep $2 if his life depended on it, because 333 Park Avenue, you know, that building, he could not get, I think it's 333, but that building on Park Ave, he could not get investors in there. Everything was always falling through for him there. So let's talk about him really quick, because he's actually running a shadow government and people need to zero in on his socially awkward tail. So Jared Kushner, and this is where the Middle East is going to flip on Trump. Mark my words. You heard it here first. Jared Kushner, you know, with his untalented self, got Qatar to invest and bribe Trump, right? Use millions of dollars. Okay. Follow me here. Jared Kushner bribed Trump, got Qatar to bribe Trump with a $400 million jet, not just any jet, okay, a 747 Boeing, all right? Also, $200 million into little Jared Kushner's private equity firm called Affinity Partners. Qatar's Sovereign Wealth Fund and Qatar's Investment Authority, QIA is what it's called, poured money into them, hoping to get things in return. Are we following? You know, they always say follow the money, so we following the money, hoping to get something in return. Well, since Trump decided to start this illegal war, because that's what it is, Iran said not so fast, because I told y'all the other day, Iran says run up and get done up. We stay ready so you don't have to get ready. They're not Iraq. They're not Afghanistan. First of all, they're larger than them. Okay, they're larger than them. Okay. Iran has hit Qatar's oil refineries. I'm going to say that again. Iran has hit Qatar's oil refinery. Because really what Trump wants, he wants to be able to have the Gaza Strip so he can put a resort out there. This is what all of this is about. It always leads to money. Money, 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 money. Okay. Iran has bombed Qatar's oil refinery. And Qatar is a beautiful place. Not so much anymore right now. But let's take a look. Let's look and see how this is working out for them, guys. Look at
Oh, shit. Oh, Ray. Oh, my God. We are back here. Oh, oh, shit. अबे किसमें किधर गिरा अरे वहां गिरा सामने तो गिरा और किधर गिरा इधर गिरा अरे शाला अबे यार पीछे से मार रहा है उधर से आ रहा है ओ शिट चलो हो चुका है पड़ता ओ शिट ओ रे ओ
my. Y'all saw those missiles fly across. Okay. My. This is a place that put 600 million, let's just say 600 million. 747 worth 400 million, 200 million in little Jared Kushner's private equity firm. Qatar. That's Qatar that we just saw. And look what's happening to him now, because Iran also knows what's going on too, because Iran said it's Kushner that's doing a lot of the shot calling and he's trying to negotiate and things. And he's a terrible negotiator. Let's be very clear with that. He's a terrible negotiator. He just is. Okay. He is god awful at it. Iran in real time is a whistleblower, because they're talking about Jared Kushner buying these things and what they're negotiating or have negotiated. Iran has put America on notice, the world on notice, FAFO. Okay. Iran is not the one. They're highly capable. And I highly believe the only two presidents that they respected was Barack Obama and John F. Kennedy. Because they were the only two ones that did not want to interfere, like didn't want to impose their will on them. They just said, hey, we can't be having y'all develop no nuclear bombs. You have a right to defend yourself. But you can't have no nuclear bombs, but we're not going to let Bibi Netanyahu talk us into doing his dirty work. That's what he said. Those are the two people that I do feel like Iran's government, Iran's country respected the most. But here we are. Trump, yet again, can never fulfill his promises. He doesn't pay his construction workers. He doesn't pay his lawyers, because you know who's paying his lawyers right now? It's a super PAC that he has that is actually paying his lawyers right now to handle his legal stuff, not him. So all them donators, you know, with 3 teeth in their mouth that feels like they donating $15, yeah, get them. They're paying for Trump's dirty deeds and for his defense fund. That's what they're doing, and that's also illegal. But I also told you guys yesterday, if Donald Trump's mouth is moving 9 times out of 10, he's lying. Not even 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, he's lying. Or he's telling on himself. So there we are, guys. There we have it. We are going to pay attention. We're going to follow this Qatar money with Jared Kushner. We're going to follow it. We're going to keep following it because I think it's more to come out of that. I think there's more money from some other countries over there in the Middle East that he's gotten. And that is not going to turn out well for those countries. Because all Jared Kushner wanted was to line his pockets with his investment firm. Okay, that's all he cares about. He knows nothing about national security. He knows nothing about peace treaties. He knows nothing about real negotiations. Because if he knew something about negotiations, that building, that investment property there in New York wouldn't have failed. Okay, wouldn't have failed. So again, guys, coffee is still high. Gas is on the rise. Feds are going to keep their interest rates stable. There have been no private sector jobs added. The economy is in the tank. We are on the brink of a worldwide depression. But yet again, they're going to look for a Black woman to try to get us out of here, and we're not. We're not. I'm looking to see if Tulsi Gabbard is going to last till the end of next week. I'm looking to see what Pam Bondi is going to do now that that email has been exposed. Before you know it, they're going to be charging us to inhale air, even though we pay taxes. So that's kind of like, they're going to be charging us to flush our toilet, which is water. But I expect that somehow, some way to be taxed too. You know, keep your eyes open, your ears even wider. Remember, read the fine print. Keep yourself safe, keep yourself informed, but also find your place of peace, because this stuff can be highly depressing. Yes, he did meet Condoleezza Rice. And you know, when you got to bring a Black woman in, that's what he needs a way to get out of this war, and he has no way because his ego will not allow him to say this was the wrong call. And Condoleezza Rice, she's skin folk, but she ain't kin folk. I'll just put it like that. She's smart. I'll give her that. But you know, if he got to bring a Black woman in office to help him, we're in some deep shit. We're in some deep shit. Remember, guys, this is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So I will see you guys here on Tuesday. Okay? Again, remember, this is Politics in Plain Sight. We take current political events and explain what's happening, why it's happening, and what it actually means. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. If you know somebody that's really not interested in politics but want to understand it more, bring them over here. Let them know this is Politics in Plain English. I give it to you to where you can understand it in layman's terms. Thank you guys for sharing this hour and 20 minutes with me. I highly appreciate it. I love you guys, and I look forward to Tuesday. Again, leave some comments. If it's something you want me to cover that I have not covered, leave it in the comments section. I am going to do some special episodes where we're just literally talking about one topic and I deep dive in it. If you have any ideas, if you have any desires of what you would like them to be, and if you would like to join me to talk about these topics, please let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section. I try to answer to all of them. I appreciate you guys greatly. Enjoy your weekend coming up. And again, until next time.